You're listening to the Grind Line Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast. I'm your host, Greg. You're listening to episode 341. I am here tonight with Ryan, but also with Jake Rivard from 313 Hockey. Jake, my friend, it has been a very long time. How are you?
It has been too long. Yeah, it's been great. Things have been busy. As you know, I recently came out of hockey coverage retirement. So I kind of feel like a late career athlete, like going back and just being like, I still got a little left in me. How about you?
Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
We
He's
should call you Joe Flacco
the
from now
Yarmir
on.
Yager of hockey content.
I'm Vince Carter going, I've still got some in me.
Okay.
It just depends on the quality of what you've got left in you. We're good. As you can see, there is no Tyler tonight. Shocker. But tonight
He didn't respond. He didn't even respond that we
No.
were getting this together.
No,
It's
not
a day
at
that
all.
ends with Y.
Exactly.
I learned
What we're
Spanish.
going to talk about, we've got a little bit to talk about. Now, again, it is slow season, but we do have a prospect games roster. We've got some kids that are on there that are in their 20s that are free agent eligible. And we had a really kind of interesting, what we'll kick it off with tonight is a kind of interesting discussion that Dylan Larkin had on a surprise appearance on a Tigers broadcast. Jake actually brought this up initially, and Larkin was asked by Jason Benetti just to start off the conversation, like, how does the team look? Like, how is everything? And Dylan Larkin says that a lot of the young guys look really good. He's excited about the group. And then Jason Benetti asked him, how would you describe the identity of the team? And that's kind of what a lot of us have been asking recently is, with the team coming back and not a lot of change made to it, what is their identity going to be? And Dylan Larkin made a really interesting comment, and he described the team as young. He said they're young, hoping young guys come in and cement themselves. And I just kind of get your initial reaction to, I think some of us were shocked. What was your initial reaction to him kind of go in that direction with it?
So I think because of how long this offseason's been, people are just starved for anything, like any sign of life. This is the first thing we've seen since the Travis Hamonic signing, so everybody just leapt on it like a pack of hyenas. My first reaction is that Jason Benetti might be one of the best like interviewers in sports. I have never seen Dylan Larkin that like relaxed in my life. He was talking like a normal person. Like he didn't seem like he had to go like media mode. You know, he's talking about his life. He's talking about golf. He's talking about this young roster. But I think there are some implications in his words. I think that the way the roster is set up right now implies to me that there is opportunity for young players if they have the drive to try to secure that role. 6 out of 10 on the speculation scale.
Yeah, it's interesting because how long have we been hoping and waiting for the youth? It's the youth movement, the high-end draft picks that the Yzer plan is gone out and snagged, and now we're waiting in the wings, for lack of better words, for them to actually do something. I mean, that's not for lack of trying. We know that these guys like Axel Sandin Pelika, MBN, they've been in Europe. They're now here. They joined Grand Rapids late last season. They're guys that we've talked about ad nauseum for the last couple of seasons. Same way with Lucas Raymond. Same way with Mo Sider, Simon Edmondson. There's several guys that we have just hammered home that, hey, this is the future of the team that are now finally here. But now you're starting to hear that come out of the mouth of the captain of the team in Dylan Larkin. And that shows you what he has seen up to this point in terms of what their training ethic might be looking like, how they could be skillfully impactful for this roster. We saw it last season in particular, I think maybe in a surprise to most with Marco Casper. So can there be someone that repeats what we saw from him last season? Yes, it took a coaching change for that to click and hammer home that, hey, he's actually pretty damn good. Now you have that longevity of the coach, even though it's for a full off season. It gets you excited, but worrisome, because if those young players do make the team and maybe aren't as impactful, what side of the fan base are you going to see come out? Like that, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't at this point, right? It's actually freaking annoying.
And Jake, I think your point is really good where it's speculative, sure, but Larkin could have went like 15 different directions with this. He could have said experience, because you pick up guys like JVR, you pick up someone like John Gibson. He did mention Gibson. He said they made good pickups. He mentioned Gibson specifically, but he made a point to say young. And that is, and you could go, yeah, whatever, but like there was 100 other ways he could have gone with it.
Yeah, no, it's funny actually, Ryan, that you mentioned the whole like what side of the fan base is going to be mad. I am like, I wrote a piece on this a couple weeks ago. It titled "You Will Never Be Happy." And I am thoroughly convinced that like that side of the fan base would rather be right than see the team succeed. I think we've all noticed that. So I imagine that if two rookies do wind up making the roster, as is the trend over the last couple of years, we had like Casper and Johansson last year, Soderblom and Edvinson 2 years ago. You had Raymond and Sider. I imagine if that trend continues and one of those guys doesn't immediately light things up, you will see that side of the fan base come crawling out of the woodwork.
But those are the same fans that say, we want the play the kids, play the high picks, play the rookies. Why are we wasting them in GR? And then when they come up and they don't score 10 goals in their first 10 games, they start to freak out. So it's the portion of the fan base that can never be happy about anything. It's also the portion that yells fire Yzerman pretty frequently.
The nature of the beast with sports anymore. It's you want success, you want it now. I don't blame them. Winning's great. It's fucking awesome.
It's fun. We love it.
I've been kind of noticing this like across all of Detroit sports though.
Yes.
Like, people were freaking out that the Lions didn't get Micah Parsons or that the Tigers didn't sell the farm to get a rental guy. Like, I think that even if they did sell and God forbid one of those teams were to fall short, there would be a full meltdown. There would be, pitchforks and torches ready to go. Like, I know how much it sucks to have to wait for those teams to take the next step, but like, we need to be a little bit patient here if you want like a long-term window.
Well, you look at a lot of the moves made as well. Like you mentioned, selling the farm for the Tigers. Does that mean you're losing a Max Clark? You're losing a McConaughey? Like those are two. I mean, it seems like you may have been able to get away from that. There's a lot more going into baseball trades, it seems like, than what there used to be. Like, you a top 5 player? I want it. Now it's like, this guy's making some noise, even though he's a little bit, maybe a year or two older or a year or two younger than what's out there. But we talked about it previously, though. Like you look at some of the hockey trades with what was given up in terms of NHL level players and or talent. Detroit couldn't match most of those. On top of they had the draft capital all day, sure. The players, you look at all the other Detroit teams. What is the equivalent in that Micah Parsons deal that Green Bay sent back for an all-pro defensive tackle? Who was Detroit sending back in that?
You're going Jack Campbell or Brian Branch. It's interesting. I wrote for heavy.com for a little period of time. And one of the other writers wrote a piece about getting Mason McTavish from the Anaheim Ducks to the Red Wings. And he proposed that they trade Axel Sandin Pellikka and a first-round pick.
That caused a lot of stink.
I messaged the guy on the side. I was like, what were you thinking? And he goes, well, it's going to get a lot of clicks. So
that's all heavy
nailed
is.
It.
If you ever see an article where the trade is just completely bonkers or is like super homer biased, know that writer is being paid per click. And so sometimes they will just throw a grenade out there to try to get people upset because the Reds do.
And if we keep it in the Red Wings sphere of things too, what were we most upset about? Well, not most upset about, but what was one of the downfalls of Ken Holland? It was trading away literally everything, emptying your pool, not having any high-end picks, and then you're back in this situation again. So it made sense to not go out there and make huge splashes, to give the kids time and room to develop, because you didn't trade these kids away, which means you have faith in them. You think they're going to grow and develop and help this team. So Larkin's interview questions, his responses make sense because, yeah, that's what Yzerman's banking on. Yzerman is banking on youth to come into this lineup and thrive. And speaking of youth, the prospect roster was announced today. We have forwards Michael Bransick-Nygaard, Nate Danielson, Carter Bear, Andre Betcher, Emmett Finney, Kevin Bicker, Alexander Doucette, Carson Bantle, and then we have some not free agents necessarily, but invitees.
Some guys.
Yeah, Liam Kilfoyle, Vincent Collard, Florent Houle, Jacob Richlovsky, who's actually under contract, and Graydon Robertson Palmer, who's a draftee. On defense, Shai Buium, Axel Sandin Pellikka, Carl Otto Magnuson, Jacob Truscott, Justice Christensen, Maxim Diracolo, Wyatt Kennedy, and Will Murphy, and goalies Landon Miller, Rudy Guimond, and Michael Prattle. And some of these kids are 18. So for people that don't know, even though they're invited, they can't just be signed. They have to enter the draft at least twice. You have to be passed on the draft twice, or I believe be 20 years old before you can be declared a free agent and just sign with a team.
Kind of like Biak Patuka a couple years back.
Yeah, so if you follow those rules, there are 3 guys in Colliard, Christensen, and Kennedy that are able to sign contracts. Now, Vincent Collard is a 194-pound, 6'3" right shot center. Has played 4 seasons in the queue. Last season, 64 games played, 25 goals, 27 assists for 52 points. That might sound impressive. It's the queue. They don't play defense. That's not very impressive.
Think Anthony Mantha.
Yeah, exactly. Or Andreas Athanasiou, scored 800 goals. Or Philip Zadina. Philip Zadina was a really big.
We don't
Q
mention
star.
him here. You shut your
I just
mouth.
got Vietnam flashbacks. I can feel the helicopters flying in the background.
Did Fortunate Son start playing in your
Oh.
head? Justice Christensen is actually committed to the University of Nebraska Omaha next season. He is a 5'9", 185-pound right shot defenseman.
in his base.
And Wyatt Kennedy is a 6'5", 201-pound right shot defenseman who played for the Windsor Spitfires last season and the North Bay Battalion in the OHL.
Some of those defensemen, man, they are
literal
big.
towers. They are big guys, and that's what you got to do, because if you look at the Dallas roster, they've got a bunch of NCAA invitees who are just big dudes, but
Beastly.
I don't expect a lot coming out of the prospect game, but it's really cool to see a lot of the bigger high-end names like an MBN, like a Nate Danielson. I wasn't even expecting Nate Danielson to go to the prospect game.
Hey, hockey's hockey.
ASP, yeah. So I guess what do you want to see out of guys like that at the prospect game, just destroying the competition?
That would be the ideal scenario. I would like the players that we have to do really well, and the players that we don't have that are on other teams to not do well. Simply put. But
Score more goals.
One thing I do have to comment on is this roster is just generational in names. I mean, you've got Graydon Robertson Palmer, Carl Otto Magnuson, Axel Sandin Pelika. It's just
the
it's
all
City
hyphens
over
team.
there. Oh, that's what I want.
Someone's gonna
I want
stroke
the
out trying to say half these names.
I want the hyphenated 5, like a Russian 5 type thing, but all guys who just have hyphenated names. Jonathan Marchessault used to hyphenate his name. He was Jonathan Audi Marchessault. Shout out NHL 16 for teaching me that. I guess my ideal scenario would be somebody like Axel Sandin Pelika or Nate Danielson performing so well that you're like, dude, how is this guy not going to make the roster this year? Like there should be zero shred of doubt that these guys should be in the NHL this year. That is my ideal scenario.
Another throwback, Matthias Janmark used to be Matthias Janmark Nyland.
This is what I'm saying.
Really?
You could do a hyphenated 5.
For the names that we constantly hammer home, MBM, Nate, Carter Bear, I mean, he's the young pup, but he's got a lot of praise when it comes to the draft analysts and prospect analysts. But I mean, for the MBN, Nate, ASP in particular, I want to see him dominate, sure, but I also want to see sound hockey. Go out, show that, yes, you are ahead above these guys, which you know that Dallas, they're probably going to have some very highly skilled players, but they're also going to be gunning for them. But don't try to do it all. Show what you can do from a team perspective, but then show how you can turn it on and go dominate by yourself. Play some defensive hockey, especially from the forward side of things, because for Nate and MBN, they're probably the closest on the forward side of this group to cracking this roster out of camp. Not saying they will. Fun and wild to see. But for them, you need to go out and play a complete hockey game. Because that's what they've hammered home since day one with Yzerman coming in. Are you playing 200 feet on the ice? And for ASP, do what you've been doing. That's all you can do. Same with Boyum. Like those guys, they've got the experience. Go out there and show that you know what the hell is going on and look good doing it.
Did you guys see the Anton Johansson goal today?
Filthy. Dude
Awesome.
walked right in and went top cheese over the shoulder of the goalie.
How old is
That's
he now?
filthy. I think he might be one of the Wings' best defensive prospects behind ASP. Like I would say, if not second best, I'd say probably top 3.
Didn't he also get ejected from a game last week because he just absolutely destroyed someone?
That's so
Yeah,
sweet. That's the guy we need. Like this
And he
what
did
I've
great
noticed.
in Grand Rapids.
He's 6'4".
What I've noticed with Iserman, like his drafting and his pro scouting, is he likes two kinds of guys. He likes your smart two-way forward and your big boy defenseman, like just a
skate well.
truck on skates.
He likes little smart guy and big dumb guy. Those are the two guys. Those are his types.
Ren and Stimpy.
It's amazing. All right, so we're going to really quick take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the young guys, what we want to see coming out of training camp, and then who might be able to make the roster, like Dylan Larkin says, and be a young guy that makes this team better. So give us 1 second. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Game on. Week 1 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This isn't just football, it's first touchdown fireworks, anytime TD rushes, and live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. Just like you can pick the Lions to win the Super Bowl and cross your fingers and hope that it happens. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
During our quick break, I just want to tell everyone about something that's totally changed my mornings. Strong Coffee Company. If you're like me, you love your coffee, but you also want it to actually do something for you. This is the upgrade you've been looking for. Strong Coffee isn't your average cup of joe. It's an all-in-one instant blend made for people who care about their health and performance. You're getting 15 grams of grass-fed protein, 5 grams of MCTs for long-lasting energy, and adaptogens like ashwagandha and L-theanine to help you stay calm, focused, and productive without the jitters or crash. The black blend is bold and smooth, made from organic fair trade Arabica beans, and their lattes, they've got collagen, hyaluronic acid, healthy fats, the works. It tastes amazing and helps you feel sharper, sleep better, and just show up as your best self every day. And on top of all that, they're eco-friendly too, so you can feel good about what you're putting in your body and how it's made. Check them out at strongcoffeecompany.com and use our code GRINDLINE. That's strongcoffeecompany.com, promo code GRINDLINE at checkout for 20% off. That's GRINDLINE for 20% off your order. Give it a shot. I think you're going to love it. And we're back, and we're going to spend the second half of the show talking a little bit about kind of our expectations going into training camp and then coming out of training camp and who might make the team. Yeah, and Jake, I am going to kind of give the floor to you in like, what are your expectations going into camp, and then coming out, who might surprise us and possibly make the team?
I guess my overall expectation is that Pavel Datsyuk about a month or two ago in an interview with I think it was a Russian organization, I think it was RG, talked about what the Red Wings are missing right now. Obviously, the clickbait headlines kind of ran with him saying that there wasn't a good leader. He was saying that to all of the NHL, not just Dylan Larkin. So the biggest thing that he said the Red Wings were lacking last season and seasons prior is confidence. So what I would really like to see out of this training camp is some swagger, some confidence. I want to see that like Dan Campbell run through a brick wall level of just like, I am ready to die on the ice for this team. Like, that would be the ideal scenario. I think that is sort of the culture that we should be trying to cement with the Red Wings. As far as guys who I think could make it, like I mentioned earlier, there's a trend that Yzerman has had where it's been about 2 prospects a year wind up graduating into the big leagues. We had Kasper and Johansson last year, Soderblom Edvinsson the year before. We've had Raymond and Sider. We had Berggren and Joe Veleno, rest in peace. 1 year, like,
he's not dead, just dead to us.
Yeah, he's a hab. So, we've had this trend going these last couple of years. So the 2/2.5 names that I have written down are Nate Danielson, who by all accounts could have made the roster last year, like with the way he played in the preseason. So I think that he should leave absolutely no doubt on the ice if he wants to make it. Or Carter Mazer, who kind of made the roster last year, played a shift and a half, and then had a season-ending injury, which was really unfortunate. But he was dominating in the AHL. I mean, he was giving them no reason but to call him up. And then my long shot pick is ASP. I really, really do think he could make it, but he has to do what we were talking about earlier, where even Jeff Blashill's wife has to be blown away with the fact that that he's doing so well.
And not just like throwback Jeff Blashill's wife, like current Jeff Blashill's wife has to watch training camp and be like, that ASP guy's amazing.
Hey, you remember your old job? Yeah, you're never going to believe this. This guy's awesome.
As he's hanging out with Chicago, he's like, why aren't you watching us?
Oh, I had to break the news too. So I live in Chicago right now. I have a couple of roommates, and one of my roommate, my roommate, it's me and my cat and my roommate. He goes, so what about this Jeff Blashill guy? He's really good at like developing young guys, right? And I was like,
fantastic.
Sure.
I want to sit down for a minute.
Look up this guy. I like had to do the the hand on the shoulder meme. I was like, you might want to sit down when I tell you this. Look up Andreas Anthony.
So I think you're right, Jake. But my long shot. So the same going in. Like I want these kids to like they want to grab it, and like you said, a Dan Campbell kind of situation. I almost think that Todd might be the closest in hockey to a Dan Campbell kind of guy. I feel like a lot of hockey coaches, unless you're a Tortorella, who is probably up there too, a lot of them are kind of reserved. They don't really aren't boisterous, aren't out there yelling at their guys. But when we watched and saw some of the practice video or heard what Todd was saying in practices, like the same, like just go out and like play fucking hockey, just go do it and like have fun with the game. I think it's the kind of closest to a Campbell feeling you're going to get. And I think if those guys are around him and they're in that kind of situation, the coach is the one that's going to make them want to go run through a wall, want to go win games. That's what Campbell did to the Lions team. So if Todd can come in and do that same sort of thing, fantastic. And we saw it was not just a new coach bump. It's what he instills in this team after every win, after every loss. And he even said, like, towards the end of the season, they started losing more and then they went back to their old ways. Well, we've had the whole summer. And now we start fresh. It's a new season. It's a new way of how we're going to do it. And I think that's the big thing that's exciting. And as far as guys that can make it, I 100% agree that, like, and it's going to upset some people maybe, Jonathan Berggren's spot is Nate Danielson's to win. Like, not physical spot, but like roster spot is his to win. And you just got to push someone out. Like, he's got to push him out. And I think he can easily do it because if you look at his season last season, Nate Danielson in 71 games played had 12 goals and 27 assists for 39 points. And people said that wasn't super impressive. But if you go back and look at Marco Kasper's last season, he had 71 games played, 14 goals and 21 assists for 35 points. So Nate Danielson exceeded what Marco Kasper did in his final season in Grand Rapids. And I think that's what gives me a lot more hope that, and as a side fact, I guess, Nate's also like perfect at everything he does on the ice, where Marco wasn't in Grand Rapids. So if you've got better production, plus your game's like really tight, like that's super hopeful. My dark horse coming out is probably MBN. I think if he shows out in camp, he could bring something to that top six that it doesn't have, which is the boom. He brings the boom to the top six. He has a booming shot. He's not afraid to lay the body. He's got a lot of snarl to his game. We'd been plugging Elmer Soderblom in that top left wing spot for funsies because he's big and toolsy and can stand in front of the goalie and he gives something that top line doesn't have. I think MBN, if he really shows out and shows he has a physicality and doesn't lapse defensively, that he could make the roster.
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting to watch. Like to me, you've got 12 guys on the roster because you look at Puckpedia, Austin Watson is showing as one of the 13. You can pretty much say Thanks for being here. Unless he shows out. Like, when he's in the lineup, you know what you're going to get.
Can I secretly say I don't mind him in a fourth line role?
I was kind of getting to that point. Like, you could get away with it, but at this, then you go to what your point was. Like, Berggren's is there to be won by someone else. This isn't to say that Carter Mazur very well may play his way back into it if he's fully healthy. But now you've got two young guys, as we've been talking about, a little bit more skill, a little bit more hype from us. Maybe obviously internally, they're like, hey, just go fucking play and do really well and beat the other guy. Do better than the other guy for a little bit. I'm good with any of the names that we've mentioned to try to not regurgitate too much of what you guys have already said. But Watson, you can pretty much say you're going back. Then you've got Burgers. And who knows? Soderblom could still be a guy that loses out a spot. Even though we're excited for him, there's some flex. There might be flexibility. Like, hey, man, sorry, you'll be back up here soon. But right now, no.
Like, I think the thing with Berggren is that, a lot of people don't. I understand being attached to a player. I understand seeing a guy go up the minor leagues and slowly make his way onto the roster. Unfortunately, Berggren is 25 right now. As this roster continues to add younger and newer players, there's going to have to be a couple difficult decisions that are made. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe earlier this offseason and like late into the trade deadline, there were rumors that they were trying to move Berggren. I think that Berggren's a perfectly fine player. I think that what he really needs more than anything, though, is a change of scenery. I think that if he had a new opportunity with a new roster to really like cement himself, he would be a lot better. I don't know if he's going to really find much of that opportunity here, though.
Well, the other thing that I think a player can do is even Yzerman has said, like, we can trade dudes whenever, like force him to make a trade. You're going to need an extra forward. And if Berggren ends up being that extra forward, fine, whatever. Can you force Yzerman to trade a guy like JT Compher? Like, you've got repeats on this roster. JT Compher did not do as well last season as he did the season before, and we thought he was going to be better. Do you make him say, okay, Nate Danielson's on this roster, we're going to trade JT, Berggren's going to be an extra, and we play Carter Mazur? Like, there are moves that can be made still, even if it's just sending a dude off for a pick. It's not as difficult as people make it out to be.
And you know what? We saw that last season when they traded Oli Mata to make room for Albert Johansson. Like there should be, unfortunately with the Wings, it is a lot harder to make the roster, I think, than most other NHL rosters. The Wings love to over-ripen their prospect. They love to take their time, and they love to sign stopgap guys. So you need to not only show that you can play at the NHL level, but that you are substantially better than whatever they're going to put out there in place of you.
It's going to get very interesting, too, this year, because we didn't really touch on it. But just a couple days ago, there was an announcement about an adjustment for the CBA that's going to take effect this season. Part of that is the roster pieces and how there's now restrictions in place on paper loans. You'd see a guy sent down for the sake of movement on paper, even though he doesn't actually go to the AHL affiliate, where now they actually have to go do that. With what you would likely see here in the coming weeks with the season starting, your roster is likely going to be much more set in stone going into those final one or two preseason games than what we're typically used to seeing. And with the LTIR thing changing, that very well could impact what we see with trades as the season goes on. Maybe we start seeing trades earlier in the year for teams trying to solidify what they're expecting. Maybe after 20 or so games, you get a quarter of the way through, like, hey, I need to go make a change now in case, but you can't have the injury piece be in effect. So, like, to your point, Greg, maybe that's where a Compher trade does take off, because you're going to have to trade more contracts this time around rather than just getting away with a draft pick trade.
Yeah, there's no more Brogan Rafferty Express going back and forth from Grand Rapids to Detroit on paper. But that'll also be interesting, I think. And that's, do you want, maybe we do see less, maybe we see one young guy come up, because you got to think there's going to be an Olympic break. And you want to try and get those young guys still as much playing time as possible. So are you really going to send them back and have them play in Grand Rapids for that 2 weeks and then bring them back up when you normally would have just done a paper move just to save money? And maybe they just don't do that anymore because of travel, because of Grand Rapids plays a lot of back-to-backs, like, pretty frequently. So I think it's a really interesting that they're doing part of the CBA now and part of the CBA later. The other thing that was brought up is we talk about young guys. Does Carter Bear possibly play in the AHL this season? Because if they get that rule in where one top first round pick can play in the AHL, like skip their last season of the CHL and play in the AHL, is that possible for Carter Bear? Just to kind of jumpstart his development and move it forward a little bit. Coming off an Achilles, probably not. But I think the option is there and it creates intrigue and it gives us something to talk about for the final month before something starts to happen.
I say to your point, February 6th to the 22nd is the Olympic break. The Grand Rapids Griffins have 7 games over that period.
That's 7 games in 2 weeks is a lot of hockey.
So
that's a playoff series right there.
Anyone that's eligible like that, you're going to want to send them down because that could be an impactful stretch for Grand Rapids in terms of standing position.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet. But I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Jake, what are you doing? What have you done recently? Where can people find you?
Man, what am I not doing? I'm doing something that's never been done before, and it's called being a white guy talking about hockey. No, I'm kidding. So you can find me at 313hockey.com. I have launched my own site. I post an article at least once a week. So this week's topic was about how Nick Lidstrom is better than Bobby Orr. Whether you agree with me or not, be sure to check out that piece.
With both awards for defenseman.
You can find me at your social media of choice at 313hockey. I'll be at the season home opener. So if you see me, I'll be the guy in the Red Wings jersey. Come say hi.
As will we. Ryan, final thoughts.
I'm pumped. We're getting close. It's rosters starting to pop up. You're seeing Larkin on impromptu interviews with the Tigers games. You can taste it. The weather is changing. Football is here on the TV in the background. Like, we're back, baby. Let's go. Already ran 33.
We are so back.
We are back. When the prospect games start to happen, we enter. We are so back. That is when. Shout out to Brian and Scotty. But we will be so back. Let's see. Training camp is September 18th. Starts September 18th. So that is so back at that point. Also, I'm really excited about some broadcaster and team changes coming up to the Red Wings TV crew that I know about and can't divulge yet, but it's going to be really cool. People that were freaking out about something, don't freak out. Everything will be absolutely okay. But you can follow me online at Bringing the Wing. You can follow the Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. We give a shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network and thank them for hosting us and spreading us around. Vintage Detroit Collection, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys from and worked on, and where we have an exclusive t-shirt collection. You can go there, click the Keep It Local tab, click the Grindline Podcast, and find our designs there with more to come this season. You can also go to YouTube, search the Grindline Podcast, sub to us, and turn on those notifications. You will be notified every time an episode goes live. But that is going to do it for us tonight. Again, Jake, thank you for coming on. Everyone go check out Jake's stuff, and you stay classy. Hockey down.